Hello, welcome to my channel if you're new, welcome back if you are a subscriber. Today is super exciting because I will be doing the Summerween Book Tag and also sharing my TBR with you, and I'm so excited about this readathon. It's being hosted by Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte and Gabby from Gabby Reads, and it's taking place July 2nd through the 8th. Now, before we get into the video, if you're wondering, this is not my new background. I'm in my parents' basement, and I'm actually filming this in between moving from Texas and moving into our new apartment in Wisconsin. But I figured this was a good location for this video and that I'd make it really chill, and I'm gonna be doing this fun tag, and I'm really excited to talk about some spooky reads and my plans for this upcoming week. I'm going to be leaving all of the prompts and everything listed below, as well as all the information for the readathon, and I'm also going to be doing some timestamps, so check those out if you're more interested in one part of the video than another. But let's get into the tag, and I'm so excited to talk about some spooky things. So the first question is, what spooky reads are you the most excited about in your TBR pile list right now? So I have quite a few, and first of all, I want to say The 12 Nights at Rotterhouse. I've heard Nakia from Nakia's Hideaway talk about this, and she absolutely loves it, as well as McKay from McKay's Book Club. They both rave about it, say it's really freaky, and I'm very excited to read this. It's a haunted house paranormal story, and they both say it's done really, really well. So I've been looking for a book like this, and this may be a new favorite of mine once I read it. No One Gets Out Alive as well is on my TBR. This is by Adam Neville, and I've heard Aaron from Aaron Megan just absolutely rave about this book and talk about how it's so scary and so tense. So I'm really excited to get to this book. Another one on my list that I wrote is The Apartment, The Butterfly Garden, The Invited, The Year of the Witching, and of course, A Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, as well as his other books, which I really still need to get to. Horror Store and My Best Friend's Exorcism. I still really want to get to None Shall Sleep, and I know that I'm forgetting a ton of other books on my list that are spooky. Number 2 is What's Your Favorite Revenge Novel? And immediately the one that pops out to me is They Never Learned by Lane Fargo. And this is probably my favorite thriller I have read this year. It's such a fun ride. It's so intense, it's so entertaining. It's about this woman who is a serial killer, and she actually chooses the worst man on campus every year and murders him. And she's been getting away with it, no one suspects her, and it has a sapphic element, and it's just so fun and fast to read this book, and it was just, I could rave about this book honestly forever and ever and ever. The third question is, what's a horror or thriller crime book you wish you could experience for the first time? And this is 100% Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This book is just so well done. I talk about this probably way too much on my channel. I'm sure you've all heard me rave about it before, but that one was just such an intense book to experience for the first time, and I was just totally immersed in the world that Karen Slaughter paints. And man, that world was brutal, and it was a brutal ride, but the book was fabulous. The other one that immediately comes to mind is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Riley Sager is my favorite thriller author. I absolutely adore his writing style, and I actually recently made a video ranking all of his books, so I'll link that above. Go check that out. I talk about all of them, my ranking, and I review them. I also just yesterday finished Survive the Night on release date, and I vlogged my experience with it, so go check that out if you're interested on my thoughts. But I will get into this later, but I would highly recommend reading Survive the Night for this readathon. Question number 4, Sucks to Suck. You were just given a handful of your least favorite candy, the one not even your siblings or friends will trade for. What candy is it, and what spooky book did you want to love that disappointed you? So for my answer, immediately I think of Peeps. Why were Peeps invented? They suck. I hate them. I'm sorry, that was so aggressive. But please, if you like Peeps, leave it in the comments because they're so nasty to me. So that's the candy I would think of immediately. A book that really disappointed me though was The Devil of Nanking. I thought it had so much potential, and it's by Mo Hader. And Karen Slaughter said that this book was very disturbing and she really liked it, but I was just disappointed by it. I didn't find it very interesting. I thought it was kind of dull, to be honest. Towards the end, it really did pick up. But there was this really, really disturbing scene, and it kind of is one of my specific triggers. So please look up the trigger warnings in that book if you're sensitive to content. Also, I will say I usually like disturbing content in books because given what I read, of course, thriller and horror books. But since I wasn't really impressed with the book and didn't really enjoy the book, I wouldn't want to say bummed, but I unfortunately will have this image and this scene like in my brain forever and ever. Can never unsee it. And I didn't even like the reading experience, so that's unfortunate. The other one that comes to mind is Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier. This is a crime novel about some boys who are disappearing, and it's basically a crime mystery, and it's all taking place at Wonderland, which is this amusement park, and it's kind of this scary setting. I thought that the author would lean way more into the scary, creepy amusement park vibe, but she really didn't, and it was more just focused on the mystery and the disappearances, which I still would recommend this book. It was a good book. I was just disappointed because I wanted more creepy clown content, and it talked about how there was this wax museum and clown museum, and honestly not much happened with those in the book. It mostly just focused on the detective trying to solve the case, and I wanted more content actually in the amusement park, and I wanted the characters to experience these creepy amusement park elements, and I just felt like that didn't happen enough. Number 5 is time to put on your costume. If you could exist in one spooky novel, which one would it be? Who would your best friend be? So I don't really know how to answer this question, to be honest, because I'm a huge scaredy cat in real life. I don't go to haunted houses. I really can't handle it in real life. Like, I like being safe or behind a screen. So I like seeing horror movies, but I can pause them, you know? Or I like reading a book, but I can put it down. I don't like actually being in the experience, even though I know it's fake. They're actors. I know that, but I have a huge flight response, and I'm just way too nervous to go into haunted houses. Let me know in the comments if you're the same as me with that, where you enjoy horror in like books and movies, but you don't like it in real life in haunted attractions and stuff like that. But if I could exist in one spooky novel, I would probably say It. I just love the vibes in It. I'm not finished with It, but I've seen the movies and I really, really love that atmosphere. Of course, I don't want to meet Pennywise because Pennywise is scary. Clowns are terrifying, and man, Pennywise is one scary clown. Number 6 is what's your favorite haunted house book and or television show? And definitely The Haunting of Hill House. I love that show. It was so well done. As well as the original Conjuring. I really, really enjoyed that movie. And then my favorite haunted house book so far is Home Before Dark. However, you don't really know if things are haunted or not, but it really actually did scare me. And I really enjoyed that book. But I am on a hunt for some more haunted house books, and I'm sure my answer might change once I read more horror. Question 7, the food question. You can only pick one from each. Would you rather A, chocolate or sour candy, B, coffee or tea, C, apple or pumpkin pie? So definitely sour candy, coffee 100%. I like iced tea a lot, but I live on coffee. I have multiple cups of coffee a day. I'm kind of too addicted to coffee, to be honest. But the first thing I think about in the morning is, where's my coffee? I need my coffee, and coffee brings me so much joy. And then apple or pumpkin pie, I would definitely have to choose pumpkin pie. I just love the autumn vibes, and the flavor is so good. 8. Show us your favorite book with a witch or a woman who gets screwed over by society and the patriarchy. So I haven't read this book yet, but I think The Year of the Witching would fit this prompt very well, and I'm really hoping I'll love it. This deals exactly with what the plot is. She is being screwed over in her society, and I can't wait to read it. Which book on your shelves or audiobook library has the scariest cover? So I chose 3. Suffer the Children has a terrifying cover in my opinion. Also, Dark Celebrations is a very haunting cover, and then You'll Never Know Dear is disturbing because dolls really creep me out. So these are the 3 that stood out to me. 10. It's Summerween and it's hot outside. What books do you recommend that give off summer vibes? Think lakes, cabins, beaches, etc. whatever reminds you of summer. So actually, immediately I thought about my list of most anticipated reads that are coming out in July, which unfortunately I believe the first ones come out on July 8th, which is the last day of Summerween. But please go check out that video because there are some really good cabin settings and that would be perfect for Summerween, at least on the last day. So the names of these are Just Married, No Place Like Home, Cabin Fever, and The Stalker. But for my other suggestions, I haven't read The Lake by Natasha Preston, but this seems like a perfect summer thriller. Also, The Troop is perfect. It takes place on an island and has a kind of Lord of the Flies vibe where it's these middle school boys and they are stuck on this island together and need to survive this terrifying tapeworm infestation. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager takes place at a summer camp, so it's perfect for Summerween vibes. Final Girls is perfect because it's a summer cabin slasher thriller, and basically a group of college students went to this cabin in the woods and there was a massacre that took place there, so I would highly recommend that book. Camp Slaughter, which is such a fun slasher horror novel. I enjoyed this book so much. It's by Sergio Gomez and he's a very talented writer. And basically this is about a cannibal on the loose and he is hunting these college students who are going to party it up at this cabin in the woods, and it is just pure fun and I would highly recommend this book. It is perfect as well and I'm actually currently reading it. It is such a huge book, it's over 1,000 pages, so it's taking me a while to get through, but it is perfect summer vibes. Even though I mentioned earlier that I was disappointed by Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier, it still would be a really good summer read, so I highly recommend that if you are cool with the fact that it doesn't focus on the creepiness as much about the amusement park and more on the crime and detective aspect of the case. And of course, Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This would be a perfect one for Summerween. I know it technically takes place in the winter or November, so it's more towards the winter, but I actually think this is a better book to read in the summer, which is kind of ironic. And also, Riley Sager did release this book smack dab in the middle of the summer, so I would highly recommend this book. Basically, a college student, Charlie, is hitching a ride with someone and she figures out that he is the campus killer who has been murdering people on her campus. And she's stuck in a car with this killer and she has to figure out how to survive the night. Question 11. You and your friends are exploring a well-known haunted house. You get separated and suddenly you hear screams coming from somewhere upstairs. You run into the next room and find two of your friends. Which two fictional characters are they? Who do you want in this situation with you? So I'm going to have to go with what Gabby Reeds said in this situation. The kids in it are just so smart, and I think I would be with the kids in it if I had to choose. I need to read more horror, and this is definitely going to happen in the next couple months. I'm planning on reading a lot more horror, but for now, that's my answer. Number 12, Trick or Treat. Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, Mary Shelley, and Shirley Jackson are at your front door. Who do you give the best and biggest candy bar to? 100% Stephen King. I think he's such a talented author, and I would definitely love to meet Stephen King and sit down and chat with him. And of course, give him a candy bar. Number 13. What is your favorite spooky book to movie adaptation where both of them are good? I would have to go with It. I definitely liked It Chapter 1 more than It Chapter 2 because I personally loved learning about the kids better, but It Chapter 2 was good as well. So I will answer that. So now going on to my actual TBR. There are a few challenges and prompts, so I'm going to read those out. So for 1, bake or make a drink with your spooky read. So I'm definitely planning on making some sort of alcoholic beverage and I will be vlogging this and I'm really excited. I am still brainstorming what I want to make, but I really like rum, so it may have something to do with rum. So number 2 is read a book in the dark, so I'm going to choose any of the other books I mentioned later to do so. I'm not sure which one I want to read in the dark yet, but I will keep you all updated as I vlog. Number 3 is read a paranormal book. So for this, I'm going to be reading The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. And actually, Sarah from Sarah's Shelves gifted this to me. So thank you so much, Sarah, for gifting this to me. This is about a husband and wife, and they decide to buy this rural land and build a house on it. However, they soon discover that this property has a dark and violent past, and the wife starts looking into it. She becomes obsessed with learning about the local legend about a woman who lived there and died there a century ago. The house also appears to be haunted, so I'm really excited to read this. I know that some people said it's not totally as scary as it could be, but it sounds like a really interesting book, and I'm very excited to fit it into this readathon. The next prompt is read a horror book, and for this I am choosing to read The Year of the Witching, and I am buddy reading this with Jess from Books Past Bedtime, and Jess actually kindly gifted this book to me, so thank you so much, Jess. On this book it says, a young woman living in a rigid, puritanical society discovers dark powers within herself in this stunning feminist fantasy debut. And this is by Alexis Henderson, and I've heard really great things about this book. Gio actually mentioned that it was one of his favorite books he read last year. I'm going to be vlogging, so I hope you all enjoy the vlogs I'm making. Please share your TBR below and let me know what book you're the most excited to read for Winterween. I will talk to you all soon, and I hope you all have a nice day. Bye.